My name is Edwin Rivera, and I'm the artistic director. I put together an incredible lineup for our attendees. If it's workshops, they'll learn from the best instructors, or watching the best shows from the best performers, making sure that we also have artists who understand that the attendee experience is the most important thing, making sure they dance with everybody and everyone can go home happy.
How did you manage to keep this festival going for so long?
I actually subbed in for my mentor, Mr. Albert Torres. Albert Torres was the founding fathers of these festivals. Right? He was the one that took salsa congresses to an international level, and he had to MC this festival under Kaya, the festival's creator, and Albert Torres was the MC. He couldn't make it one year, so he sent me, and I got super close with this organization, and Kaya sold the festival to Raj and Dola. First transition from Kaya to Raj and Dola, I was the artistic director for the New York International Salsa Congress, and Dola came to check out my work. He says, wow, I love what you're doing in New York. Can you come do it in Baltimore? There was a lot of work to do under this new ownership, right? Because when there's new owners, attendees are like, is it going to be the same? Mm-hmm. So my job was not for it not to be the same, but for it to be better.
I noticed there's an evolution in the name.
Yes.
We first have the Salsa Congress, then we have the Salsa Bachata Congress, and now we have the World Dance Festival.
Yeah.
How come? What changed?
Mr. Dolan wanted to be very unique with his festival. One thing about this festival that we're very proud of was the attendance with kizomba and zouk. We want them to also feel important as the salsa and bachata. We wanted to turn this festival into a festival where all genres, all styles are accepted. And we made that transition last year.
How many people are in the different areas?
Afro-Cuban class is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was nuts. Kizomba class is in the main room right now.
Nice.
We really never had a kizomba class in the big room. People are feeling like, oh wow, this festival really appreciates these different styles, and there's no festival like this in this country.
With a World Dance Festival, what is your secret to really having it made something that sticks for so long and that is growing, and you've stayed for a long time?
When you are consistent with your creativity, having no fear if something's going to fail or is it going to work, I think that's the recipe. It's very important that we stay true to our identity and being a very unique festival, that when you leave this place, you understand and you feel like, oh my God, what an experience like no other.
For the people that are watching that could not make it to this time, what can we expect for next year?
Oh my God, bigger and better. We're looking into something very special. It's going to definitely change the game of Latin dance festivals in the world. Something about Dola is he lets his staff do their thing. Each principal staff member here, some of us run our own festivals. So Dola has a bunch of leaders under him. This is a gentleman that you learn so much from. If an attendee is frustrated, or if a staff is frustrated, or he's just so cool about that, on executing what needs to be done in such a positive way. We'll do anything for that man because he understands why we're doing this. Shout out to Dola for just being an incredible leader. You know, he's like a father figure to me, and I appreciate him so much.
I've experienced it myself. We had a first meeting with Dola about a month ago, and Dance Unites us is very young, so we needed a platform to really start our journey, and he was so open to the opportunity. It really takes a big person to be able to also lead leaders and have these people feel appreciated and valued and give them their breathing space.
Yeah, and then yesterday it was beautiful. This one of our headliners, Usher One Baby, Afro Beats. He's not supposed to be until today, and shows up here on a Thursday. Doesn't have a hotel room, and he's just helping every staff member with everything, making sure Dola's okay. And I mean, this is who Dola is, right? Everybody wants to help this man because of how open and welcoming he is.
So I'm gonna follow Dola around, and we're gonna see what they have experienced through all those years, and we're gonna try to get it all in a few minutes.
The difference here, the closer you get.
Now we have Kaya here. She's the original owner of the festival, and it's just so curious to see that she's still around. So let's hear a little bit more about her story.
So my name is Claudia Barraza actually, but everybody calls me Kaya because it's just easier. I'm originally from Colombia, South America, and my mother is a professional dancer, folklore dancer. So I grew up with music all my life, the love and the passion. So when I moved to the United States in 1998, I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know any word. But dancing has the language of the body. Yep, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to make some money. Then let's just teach some dancing. So I started teaching, and I'm like, I'm loving this. I'm loving sharing my culture, with other cultures and learning from the others too. So it's like a both ways. And I ended up in Baltimore in 2006. Now I know a little more English. I'm more accustomed to, being out of my hometown. Baltimore is an interesting city because it's like in the middle of big cities, but we really don't have like the big city vibe. How come there is a huge congress in New York, a huge congress in Miami? There is congress everywhere in Baltimore. Let's do it. Yeah, right? Like a crazy person because I really didn't know much about the business itself. I just wanted people to learn how to dance. That's what I wanted. So I'm teaching at a studio at that time. The owner told me, this is your studio, so you can do whatever you want. Oh, so nice. So I planned this huge party. And I go to YouTube. What are the best instructors in the DNB? Because I don't know nobody, of course. And then I see, this guy can dance. Okay, let's call it. Hey, my name is this. I'm thinking, would you be able to do it? Well, but I really don't have that much money because I'm just going to start this. So can we do some like a pro bono or something? And everyone was so amazingly easy to work with. Wow. I was like, oh my God, this is actually gonna work. Where we don't have to be, it's all about the financial gain. Then it was so many people that the fire department came. They didn't show us out, but they said you have to close it all because you can't feed on people. I was, this is a good problem. Yeah, definitely. This is 2009. So I said, okay, next year, you go to this hotel. I go to the hotel and, they rent me the ballrooms normally, like they rent it for a wedding. That's very expensive. Yeah. But that's all I knew. It was super scary. I had to rent everything because the hotel didn't provide nothing, just the bottoms. So I need floor, I need the stage, I need lights, I need sound, and it's $1,000. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Well, it was awesome because also it kind of oversold. So now I have way more people than I thought, and I was able to make some money that I wasn't expecting to make. So I'm like, okay, let's reinvest it for next year. I was listening to other promoters in other congresses, and I'm like, how they can get these beautiful hotels like the Hilton, they can continue. And I'm at the Crown Plaza, like, I'm doing something wrong. So I reached out to Albert Torres. I went to New York to a party that he was, and I introduced myself. Hi, kind of, he's like, what? I need your help. And he told me, Kaya, you're doing it wrong. So he gave me all these insights. Nice. That to today open other doors. He came to Baltimore for one day to help me negotiate the hotel. I started here at the Hilton in 2015. But it's all me and my daughter. Women power work. 100%. But it was a lot of work. Right? And also have a son. My son was a lot younger and I felt like I'm not fulfilling my mother role with him. Then I make a partnership with someone that person really messed me up because that's the only year I actually lost money. I had to take it out of my pocket because I had to pay people. Sure. It's not your fault, right? I'm a woman of my word. Yeah. Because if I tell you this is gonna happen, I'll make it happen. So now I have to go into my savings, all of that. Although I was like, I don't really want to do that again. So my daughter told me, Mom, I'm out. So I'd reach out to all the promoters in town so they let us to continue. Dola and Raj, we sit down, I told them everything I knew. I gave them every piece of paper, whatever I had. And here it goes, and we made the deal, and they took off. They also told me, maybe you can help us with the rollover and stay as long as you want. And I said, no, I'm just gonna help you guys for 1 year. All my volunteers came, so I got, and I do 3 years with them. And the pandemic came. But now the name is totally different. But when Dola said, well, this is my vision, I'm like, you got me right here. Because your vision and my vision, they don't have to be the same. But we are still connected with the dancing, music, cultural part that we want to share.
Yeah. Now you don't have the stress of the business part that you have to be in there and you have to be emotional. You can be still part of it, you can enjoy it.
In a lot of years, from this. So this event always going to be my heart.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. The next person who's actually linked to Kaya before.
So my name is Rocio. I'm actually originally from and I love the whole idea that she had a whole female team. So I reached out to her and she was like, I like you, let's work together. And she's now one of my best friends. I moved here 25 years ago. So it's kind of been part of what makes me not miss home so much maybe, because this is kind of like where you find my culture.
We all find our hearts and home with that, right? How come that you started with Kaya and you are still here?
We actually had a qualifier for the World Dance, and I was in charge of that part of it. So it kind of just started to grow to me being in charge of registration, to then when Kaya sold the event to DJ Dola and Raj at that time, they asked me to stay because I had been with her for like 5 years. I stepped away for a couple of years after COVID. They asked me to come back, so I did. This is my first year fully back.
Like, what do you see different?
I think it's the making it a more global event, kind of including all the other rhythms. I mean, we just had a fabulous drumming live session. It was amazing.
I heard it. You could not miss it. The whole hotel was
vibe. It was shaking. It's a bit of a shock to people because, you know, of course, salsa bachata is what attracts more. But the other rhythms like zouk and kizomba and just any other rhythm, like in hip hop or whatever, like there's such a market that we can all get it together. I think we can make something really good happen.
And it's so beautiful because a lot of dancers are actually dancing a lot of these different styles. So it's always sad, like I myself, I dance salsa, bachata, kizomba, I'm dancing it all. But normally you don't find these things together.
You do not. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to offer and give everybody the opportunity to be exposed to different things. So maybe even when you say, oh, I don't even know what that would be. I've never taken like an African rhythms class. And you take one and you're like, okay, maybe this is something I want to, pursue or like get more into it. Same the other way. Maybe we do have dancers that are not much into the salsa bachata, and then they see the classes or the music and it attracts them.
Definitely. And that's also one of the things that Dance Unites is really into, like connecting all the different styles, because it's not only connection on the dance floor, it's intercultural connection. You get to know different people. You get to stick your nose into it.
Absolutely.
And here you have it all in one plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of part of what I like with my team. So I run all the volunteers. And I think we may have like 5 or 6 different countries represented in our team this year, which I think it's really cool. And same, like everybody's very much like, oh, I've never done salsa before. I'm like, well, here you go. And people, when they come here too, they see the diversity and just kind of like the community part of it, and I think that's amazing.
And how's it for you to see that Kaya and Dola are getting along so nicely?
It's interesting because it's also, they both come from very different backgrounds, right? So clearly Kaya is full on salsa. She's from Colombia. She loves it. We even had to push her a little bit to dance the bachata. But Dola, but she loves salsa, but his roots are African. He's from Africa. So it's very interesting to see that mix and match and how maybe we try to prioritize certain things so they, for which artists are we going to put where. And I think one of the things that Edwin did really well this year is making it very fair to everybody. Sometimes you find like the main rhythms in the bigger room, but we're giving maybe the less popular rhythms like bigger rooms as well, because it turns out they're not really the less popular ones. Like all the classes are full. So I think that's really good to kind of just give the same opportunity to everybody.
Normally when you go to a party and kizomba is that small, exactly. Well, obviously you're not going to have more people dancing.
No, because when you go in and it's so fun, everybody's like, oh no, I'm going to go to the bigger room. So we're trying to just kind of accommodate everybody. And maybe we can get to a point that we just need 4 or 5 big rooms no matter what we do. That's kind of the goal.
Well, I think you're doing an awesome job. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We're here with one of the featured artists.
You can call me Sarah Chips. I'm a dancer, choreographer, moving coach, entrepreneur, and a mother. I teach Afro dance, and I specifically teach Nigerian street dance.
I've seen one of her workshops just before, and it was very, very cool because it really gave a nice introduction into all of the moves. So you're moving around a lot. What is it that the World Dance Festival makes special for you?
How there's so many dance styles and so many cultures in one space. You can learn whatever you want to learn in a cultural form, and it's beautiful. It's like a melting pot of dance styles, and it's just amazing.
Is there anything specific that you also notice in the vibe of just the people being involved in the event?
Everyone's so friendly. Everyone is so welcoming. Everyone is so ready to learn and has an open mindset. And I love that about this.
Afrobeats is something that I have hardly ever seen at a different festival. So how do you see people receiving it?
Thankfully, everyone here has had an open mind towards it. I think I've probably had just one person that was a bit like, it is definitely different from most of the Latin in the ballroom and in cultural dancing that people are used to in this festival. So I am very optimistic that the love would grow the more they get into it.
What is one of the things that you love most about Afrobeats?
Ability to express myself however I want to. There's no, even though we do have technique and we do have basics, but there is no rule binding. So you have a lot of freedom. There's a lot of freedom in Afro dance. There's a lot of freedom in street dance and Nigerian street dance. There's a lot of expression, and there's a lot of mimicking of our day-to-day lives in Africa. So that's why I love Afro dance.
How's it working when you're dancing together?
In situations like that, it's choreographic. So when you do choreographic, technically, there are those rules in choreography where you have to follow the choreography. But in a sense where I am just freestyling or I'm just vibing, I can do whatever I want. My hand does not have to be here or here or here. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are basic rules. There are basic techniques that still need to be followed, but generally you have the freedom of expression in each move, however you want to. Whenever you do watch an Afro group perform, as much as they are uniform and you can see everything looks slightly the same, you can still see each individual because we have our own specific sauce, and in our style, you are taught to not lose that sauce so that you don't look like a clone of each other. So we can be moving the same and moving in unison, but you would still see how I'm feeling it in a different way that you are feeling it. I can still tell the difference when I'm watching. That's the beauty of Afro dance.
Cool. So it's sticking with your individuality, but still vibing as a whole.
Absolutely.
How are you seeing the Afro moves and different people from different cultures adopting it, helping with like intercultural connection?
When we really look back at it, everything comes from everything. So it's either music-wise, dance-wise, drums, all of that. It all came from the same place, and we do have a lot of similarities. That's why you would see us do a jazz in Afro dance, and then you'll see a ballerina or a modern dancer do a pas de bourrée, and it's the same step. We just have nuances that are a bit different. So when we have intercultural exchanges like that, we get to see our differences, we get to see our similarities, and we get to appreciate one another and bond. So I feel like it's a really great thing when we are learning from each other and like exchanging our cultures.
It's about connecting on the dance floor. It's about connecting cultures, celebrating individuality, and at the same time coming together as a whole thing, because we all want to enjoy just dance and music, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.